those of you who are here, if y'all got questions about anything, or like, I remember we going over this, but I don't remember exactly how we did it. You can go back and rewatch the video. So let's see. Okay, so what I wanted us to do this afternoon, y'all, was I was really gonna open it up to questions and give you guys an opportunity to ask me any questions you guys might have out of like 2.1 or 2.2 or 2.3. So I think I did this for you guys last week, where I said that instead of our homework being due next Tuesday, our homework is going to be due on the 21st. It'll be due on the 23rd instead. So it'll be due a week from tomorrow. And so what I was really hoping that we could do today is answer any questions out of, like, say, 2.1, 2.2, or 2.3. And then next Wednesday, I could answer any questions you guys might have out of 2.4, 2.5, or 2.6. And then this way, you'd still have a day or two, another day before you got to finish all your work. So, and Liz, I'm glad to see that you're here too. So what I really wanted to ask is, do you all have any questions I'm typing it out as I'm talking. Keep misspelling stuff because my fingers are too big. All right. So do you guys have any questions from homework from sections 2.1, 2.2, and 2.3? And if you do, we can go over some of that stuff to make sure that you guys feel okay. So I'm just kind of curious if you do. Don't be shy, guys. This is all about getting help.
Can you hear me, Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, no, I don't have any questions at the moment, but so far I've been able to get the problems and everything a little bit better.
Okay.
I think there was just one with the graphene that I just had a little bit of doubt because I think I'm not sure which one it was that I can't remember on the graph part of it where you kind of like circle. I think one of the homework that you gave me, it had to where the circle. I think it was a -2, but it was actually supposed to be on a +2.
Okay. Yes.
But even then, I did it even then, correctly, even though it didn't match what was given to us on the homework.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll tell you what. So guys, just to give you, I just want to, I think I know exactly what you're talking about because, so I actually have a class. It's a college algebra class. It's called the hybrid class. So the difference between their class and our class is their class in a hybrid model, they get one day, like we meet one day a week. My class is in Wesco, so I meet with them Tuesday nights. We have a class from like 6 to 7:45. So you guys and them are right at the same spot. And so what I've been doing, last night, what I did with them is I did the same thing. I pushed their homework due back on Thursdays now. And what I did was with them last night, I covered section 2.3 and then I answered questions out of 2.1. And so I do want to do one of those problems. And I know, Anna, you said, can I do one of them as well? Definitely, I definitely can. So I want to do basically the same type of problem that I did last night with my class. I want to do the same type of problem with you guys, because I think what David is referring to, this type of problem right here, y'all, is going to be real similar to what David was talking about. And it's also going to answer Anna's questions about, she says she thinks she got it, but can we just do one? Definitely we can. So I'm going to scroll over, and since David, you were mentioning the stuff about the graphs and the circles business, the problem that I'm going to pick here for y'all guys is out of 2.2, okay? And so let me see if I can do this here. Let's see, okay, I might have to write it over here. Oh, come on. Let's see. There we go. Paste it right there. Okay. So I think you guys can see everything here on my page. So what I'm really going to do here, you guys, and I'm going to tell you exactly where I got this problem from in the homework. This problem was question number 3 in our homework for 2.2. And I'm going to actually share that screen with you guys real quick, just so you can see what it is I'm looking at. So let me do that real quick. And let's see. Here we go. So it should be popping up now. Let's see. There we go. Okay. So it says, for these problems, it says, complete exercises 5 through 8 by selecting the correct graph for each exercise below. So all I really did, guys, is I just kind of used my copy and paste tool, and I copied this here. And then we're going to figure out which graph goes with each of these, 5, 6, 7, or 8. So let me go ahead and go back to my notes so that I can actually write on the screen and I can show that stuff with you guys. And what I really wanted to mention, this is what I did the same thing last night, was when we're looking at our equation of a circle, which is, we have it right here, okay? And I'm just going to rewrite it again. It's x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. And then it tells us that the center of the circle is just the point h and k, and r stands for the radius, okay? So the first thing I want to mention is the last number that we have here, it's not the radius, it's the radius once we have already squared it. So the first thing I want you guys to notice is in the problem that we have here, they're all 25, right? So what we're going to say is, well, remember, we're asking ourselves what number when we square it gives us 25, and we would say, well, that answer would have to be 5, right? Because 5 squared gives me 25 every single time, right? So we already know for every one of those problems, the radius is 5. Now, what I want to do here is for question number 5, I want us to find the center of the circle. What I want you all to notice is right here we have a minus h, we have a minus k, but in the center, it's just the point h and k. So typically the way I tell my students to do this is if you look at these signs here, they're negative, but in here they're positive. So what I'm going to do is every single time I'm going to change my signs. So I'm going to look at this piece right here and this piece right here. They're both, one's a negative 5 and one's a negative 3. So I'm going to use a positive 5 and a positive 3, and the radius is 5. And I'm going to do the same thing for problems 6, 7, and 8. Okay. So let's do the same thing for 6. I'm going to look at this piece here and this piece here. So that says a minus 5, I'm going to use a plus 5. And if this says a plus 3, I'm going to use a minus 3, and my radius is still 5. Okay. We'll do the same thing for number 7. I'm going to look at those numbers. I'm going to change the signs. So I'm going to use a minus 5 and a positive 3. My radius, again, is still 5 because remember, it's this number. Whenever I square it, what gives me 25, right? Or what's the square root of 25? It's 5. And then I got one last one to do, number 8. And we're going to say, what's the center of our circle? Negative 5 and negative 3. And our radius is 5. Okay, so we found the centers of each of those circles. The radius was always going to be 5. And then what I'm going to do here, y'all, is I'm going to do this one piece at a time, okay? Number 5 is a circle where the center is at the point 5, 3, and the radius is at 5. So what I'm going to do now is, let me see, I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to stop sharing that screen with you guys real quick because I need to share the original problem again. Okay, and so we said that for number 5, the center was 5 and positive 3. So I'm going to look for positive 5 and positive 3. If it's hard to see, you guys, you can just kind of zoom in. Let me see. I think actually if I hit this button, I don't know if that's working for you guys or not. Yes, it is. Okay. So now I can see that the center here is 5 and 3. Okay. So this one here has to be number 5. And I'm supposed to drag it, and it's supposed to pick it up. There we go. Okay. And then when I look at number 6 is positive 5 and negative 3. So if I click on this one here, here's my center, positive 5 and negative 3 because it's down here. So I know that this one here is going to go for number 6. Let's see. There we go. Okay, number 7 is a -5 and a +3. So a -5 and a +3. I think that's this one. Let's double check. -5 and +3. Okay, so this is going to go to number 7. And then, guys, by process of elimination, this one has to be number 8, right? This is the only one we still got. There we go. And then what I'll do now is I'll go ahead and check my answer, and we got them all, right? So let me stop sharing this piece real quick, and I'm going to come back to you guys. I'm going to share my notes one more time. And David, I'm not certain if I answered your question, but I know you were saying something about the signs were a little bit off. But I'm curious is if once we did that problem, if that kind of helped figure out the whole difference between why my signs are going to be different, because I always got to look at what we have. Let's see. I always have to look at what I have right here, and whatever those signs are, I'm always going to have to change my signs. And so if I see a -5 and a -3, it's going to be +5 and +3. And if I look at the last one down here and I see a +5 and a +3, then they'll both be negative, right? So, number one, let's see. David, did I answer your question about the thing with the signs?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, good. I just wanted to.
Yeah, I understand
Yeah.
it.
I just wanted to, yeah. Oh, okay, I just wanted to make sure we're good. And Anna, are we good with? And you said you said you thought you got it, but if I could do one, Anna, did that make sense when I did number 5? You can either speak up or okay, good. You got it in the chat. That's great. Guys, any questions you all have? Remember, this is my time that I'm giving for you guys. So don't feel shy about asking me anything. I'm happy to help you guys. Okay. Yes, 7 and 8. Let's try 7 and 8. Definitely. So what I'm going to do here, give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to get to my problems. Let me try 7 and 8. Let me see. Oh, yeah, on the notes. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yes. So let me show you that so you can see. Let me see. Come back over here. There you go. There's 7 and 8. Any other questions you guys, anybody have out of 2-1 or 2-2 or 2-3? And guys, let me ask you another question. How the so I put a class assignment number 1. I put that in the good. Anna, I'm glad you got it. I put that in the week 3 folder, guys. That will be due on Thursday as well. Okay, so you don't have to worry about getting to me by Tuesday. And if you already sent it to me, that's great. I haven't had a chance to look at them yet because I got class assignments coming in for 3 classes, so I'll get to them probably towards the end of next week. But that class assignment number 1 won't be due until next Thursday when all the other assignments are due. But does that class, like if you look at that class assignment, guys, and you look at this problem that we did right now, it's going to be kind of similar, you know. At least part of the problem is. But anybody have any other questions out of 2-1 or 2-2 or 2-3? I just want to make sure that we get to use all our time up today, and I don't want you to feel like you got to stay logged in if you don't have questions. But if you do, I definitely want you guys to ask. Okay. Let me ask you all a question. Does chapter 2 seem harder or easier than chapter 1? Anybody? Yes, I can definitely do one from 2.1. So let me pull up a problem real quick. Easier. Good. Yeah, let me do a problem out of 2.1, and let me see. Let me do this real quick. That's what my class last night was saying as well, that they felt like the chapter 2 so far was easier than chapter 1, and I think I agree. Chapter 1 is kind of like, it just has so much information in there, and in chapter 2, I don't think is as I don't know, for lack of a better word, it's not as it's not as full as chapter 1 is. So yeah, I think I agree with you guys there. Okay, guys, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll back over here on my notes. And since I'm going to do a problem out of 2.1, what I want to do is I'm going to put it right over here somewhere. Do that. Here we go. Okay. And so let me see. I'm going to come back over here real quick just to make sure you guys can see it. David, chapter 2 is easier. Good. I'm glad you feel so. I'm glad you feel that way too. So guys, let me go ahead and go through this problem here. And again, if y'all got any questions about this or anything, or if I'm doing something and it doesn't make sense, please let me know. Okay, so one thing I want to mention about chapter 2, I think a lot of the chapter is what I call plug and chug, because that's pretty much what it is we're going to do. We're going to plug and chug to do these problems, okay? So here's my distance formula, and it gives me the equation right here. And here are my 2 points. So guys, remember, when we have points, every point has 2 coordinates. And the first coordinate is x, and the second coordinate is y. And because we have 2 points, we usually call them x1 and y1 and x2 and y2, just because there's a first point and a second point. So the distance formula says, and all I'm going to do, y'all, is just copy this down. The distance formula says we're going to take x2 minus x1, we're going to square it, and then we're going to take y2 minus y1, and we're going to square that. And then we're going to take the square root of the whole deal. So really, excuse me, what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to plug and chug. So the first part of my formula says x2. x2 is going to be that x coordinate of the second point. So it's a minus 14, so I'm going to write that. And then we have a minus, and x1 is a negative 19. Don't forget to write minus and then negative. We're going to square that. And then we're going to do y2, which is this number, which is a 5, minus, because there's a minus right here, y1, which is 0, and we're going to square that. Okay. All right, so all we've done so far is just take our numbers and plug them into the formula. So guys, remember, when we're subtracting and we're dealing with negatives, minus and minus become plus. So I want you to think about this part. Negative 14 plus 19. If I owed you $14, but I had 19 in my pocket, once I paid you, I'd still have $5. So that's going to be 5 squared, plus 5 minus 0 is still 5. That's 5 squared. Okay. Now remember what 5 squared is. 5 squared is 5 times 5. That's 25, plus another 25. So the distance here is the square root of 50. Okay. Now, if we can, we want to see if we can simplify that part. So what I'm going to do here, remember what the square root means. The square root means we're getting pairs. So when I think of 50, I usually think of 5 and 10. And when I think of 10, I normally think of 5 and 2. And so what this is telling me is that we have a pair of 5s, but we only have 1 2. So when we're taking the square root here, whatever we have a pair of, that number comes outside. Whatever we don't have a pair of, that number stays inside. Okay. So far, we're coming up with the distance to be 5 square roots of 2. And so what I'm going to do now, y'all, I'm going to stop sharing this piece here. And I'm going to pull up the problem just so you guys can see it. And let's see, let's do this. And here we go. Okay. And so right here, guys, I'm going to put 5. I'm going to put square root of 2. And I'm going to check my answer. And we got that first part right. Okay. And now it's going to ask me for the midpoint. So we'll do that part in 1 second. Let's go ahead and come back to our notes. Okay. So right here is my midpoint formula. Okay, so here's our midpoint formula. And let me see if I can do this again. Here we go. Let's go like this. Yeah, same points. Okay. Remember, this is my x1 and my y1, and that's my x2 and my y2. And so the midpoint formula says we're going to take x1 and x2, We're going to add them together and divide by 2, and we're going to take y1 and y2. We're going to take them together and divide by 2. Okay? So x1 was negative 19 plus x2 is a minus 14 all over 2. And then y1 is 0 plus 5, and we're going to take that over 2. Okay. So let's see. Let's do it just like we did earlier. Negative 19 plus a negative 14. Now, these are both negative. So if I owed you $19 and I borrowed another 14, I would now owe you 33. And 0 plus 5 is still 5. And so right here is my midpoint. And so again, all I'm going to do, y'all, is I'm going to stop sharing this part. I'm going to come back just so I can enter my answers in. And you can see that we're going to be coming up with the same thing here. And let's see, here we go. So guys, when I'm doing this here, I'm just going to use my parentheses. And we had a negative 33 over 2. And then comma. And then we had a 5 over 2. And there we go. And I'm going to check my answer. And we got it. So again, that's problem number 1 out of 2.1, and we did another problem. I don't know which one it was, but we did something else there out of 2.2. Anna, yes, you got a question for me?
Yes. In the middle where you plugged in the numbers. I see.
On this part or on my notes?
On the notes.
Okay, let me pull up the notes real quick just so we can see that. Let me see. Let me come back here. Let me come back here, here, and here. Okay. Yes. Okay, I'm right here in the notes.
Okay, where you circled the 19 and the 14, the negative 19 and negative 14. Why is there a plus sign in the middle? Oh,
okay. There's a plus sign in the middle. Right there.
I see it. I got it.
Okay. Good. So yeah. Guys, the nice thing about, I think, about a lot of these problems in chapter 2 is that they are really, a lot of it is plug and chug type of stuff. So guys, the one thing I really want to emphasize to y'all is whenever we get ready to take test number 1, right? That's probably going to be a couple of weeks from now. I can even tell you, let me see, give me 1 second and I'll tell you how you guys can tell. And all I'm going to do, guys, is on our Blackboard page, we have the link to the syllabus. And at the very bottom, it tells us what week test number 1 is going to be in. So right now we're in week 4, and I'm going to share this with you guys just so you can see what it is I'm looking at. So let me do this here, and Chrome tab, and here we go. And let me see that that's coming through. Yes. So guys, all I did is I just clicked on, in our content page, all I did is click on the link for the syllabus. And when it pulled it up, all I did is kind of scroll all the way down, all the way to the bottom. And here's our calendar. So right now, this is like the week that we're in. We're in week 4, right? But like I said, next Wednesday, we'll have an opportunity to answer questions. So we can even answer some questions from here tonight too, if you guys have any. And so the next week, what we'll do is we'll do 2.7 and 2.8, and then we'll have some review time. And then the week after that, we'll be doing our test. And so our test will probably be, let's see, if we have our class sessions on Wednesdays. So let's see, today is the 15th, which means next Wednesday is the 22nd. So probably on the 29th, y'all, we'll do like our session that night will be pretty much, let's go over questions from the review, and then you guys will be able to take the test like on the 30th and the 1st and the 2nd and the 3rd and the 4th and the 5th or something like that. You'll have like four or 5 days to be able to take your test. So when you take your test, y'all, the main thing I really wanted to mention is that, and I'm going to stop sharing this real quick just so I can pull up my notes one more time. Where is it? Here we go. But the one thing I really wanted to mention is when you're getting ready to take your test, right, or whenever you're taking your test, number 1, I'm going to provide you with a formula sheet. But number 2, you're going to have access to your notes as well. So if you, and on the formula sheet, all these really important formulas like the equation of the circle and the distance formula and the midpoint formula and the quadratic formula. Those formulas will be there, right? But you'll be able to see, like, okay, what formula do I use? And all you got to do is apply the formula. Now, the one thing I always tell my students, y'all, is just because you have the formulas, I mean, I'm doing that so that it makes it a little bit easier, because I really don't think it's not really important that you memorize these formulas. I don't really see a big advantage of doing that, but you definitely want to know how to use them. So if you've already run through a few problems, then when you're doing your test, you're like, okay, I remember doing this type of a problem before. So I hope that helps. I probably talked way too much there, but I hope that helps. Let's see. Any other questions about anything, guys? Any other problems you want me to go through? Again, anything out of 2.4, 2.5, and 2.6. I'm happy to go over anything from there too, if anybody has any. No? Going once, going twice. Going 3 times. Let's see. Good to go. Good. Cody, I'm glad this is working. All right, guys. So listen, if y'all don't have any other questions, you are free to log off. If you do have questions, I encourage you to hang out for a little bit and let me know if you do have any questions, so that I can answer them for you. But if you don't have questions, feel free to log off. Those of you who do, I'll hang out for another 10 minutes or so, or longer, depending on the questions you have. And if not, guys, I'll catch you guys next Wednesday. Like I said, the assignments for weeks 3 and 4 aren't due until the 23rd, and that includes that class assignment number 2. Okay, and then guys, whenever you do have class assignment number 2, just send me a message through Blackboard Messages and send it through there. And some of you, like I said, may have already done it. I'm getting class assignments from 3 different classes right now. So it's actually 4. I got one coming in next week as well. So it'll take me a little while to get them, but I'll definitely record your grades as they're coming in. Okay. So those of you who don't have questions, y'all are free to log off. Those of you who do, hang out, and I'll be here, guys, answering anything you guys need. Of course, Liz, anytime. This is why I'm here. I want you guys to feel comfortable and really do well. You're welcome, Cody. Thank you, too. David, appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for coming in, sir. You're welcome, Anna. Thank you for coming in. I'm glad you asked some questions. I hope they helped. Perfect. Awesome. Excellent. Very good. You do the same, Anna. Take care. Thanks for coming in.